the final installment of our epic series of GT100 videos here is the 4-cable method of using a GT100 with your favorite guitar amplifier. Basically, the concept here, for years and years, I think guitarists have been put off of buying multi-effects units because they've had an amplifier that they really, really like, and they get a multi-effects unit and they plug it in the front of it, and all of a sudden they can't use the drive channel of their amplifier, which they really, really love. They have to use the drive channel that's in the sort of effects board that they do, and so they've never really fallen in love. So there's a whole kind of bunch of you guitar players out there that have never considered buying a multi-effects processor and have stuck to your pedals. Well, we may just be about to change that way of thinking by using the GT100 in what's called the 4-cable method. Now, if you go to our website, and I must remember to do this when I get back to the store, I'll put on our GT100 listing a diagram of what the 4-cable method is. But essentially, the idea is that we've got the guitar plugged into the GT100, and it's linked to this little tube amplifier here using both the effects loop on the amplifier and the effects loop on the GT100. So if you don't have an effects loop on your guitar amp, you can stop watching this video now because it won't work for you. But if you do, this is what's going to happen. So the first sound that Lee is going to play is just the drive sound of this Blackstar HT5 with no effects at all. So here we go. So imagine that's your favorite guitar amplifier singing away. So that's our kind of starting point. Now the first thing that I'm going to do, because the background noise just annoys me, is engage the noise suppressor in the GT100. So you guys are probably getting quite familiar with this layout now, because we've done a couple of demos like this now. So I use the select knob to find the noise suppressor, NS1. I turn it on. In fact, if I turn the level up, you can hear. So that's with it off. That's with it on, and if I need a little bit more kind of noise removed, I can turn the threshold up. Be aware, obviously, the higher you set the noise suppressor on any kind of rig, the more it will affect some of those kind of sustaining notes when you're maybe doing more subtle stuff. So I'm going to leave the noise suppressor on for the whole thing. So the idea now on the GT100, hopefully you can see where my finger is on the little cam, there's a thing called S-R. That stands for send and return. So that's saying basically whereabouts in the signal chain here do I want the pedals to be. So do I want them to be before the send and return? So in other words, replicating, putting pedals into the front of an amplifier, or do I want them to be after the send and return, which is essentially going to route them through the send and return of the amplifier. So the first thing I think we'll do is show you how easy it is to say stick a compressor in front of the amplifier. So here's my sound without. And here's my sound with. So you can hear kind of a little bit tighter sort of sound. So I've backed the gain down on the Blackstar, and now we're going to introduce a tube screamer effect. So whilst Lee's playing, I'll just turn it on and hopefully you'll hear it kind of kick in. So that's the idea. So you can see we've got the option of putting any number of pedals in front of the amplifier. I've put the amp back to its clean channel now. Of course, this works completely interactively. I've put it back to the clean just while we demonstrate the reverbs and the delays and things like that, because I think it's easier for you to hear the definition of them whilst we're doing that. I've left the compressor on. And one of the other cool things as well, this won't work with every single amplifier, but if you've got an amplifier that will channel change off of just a normal sort of latching foot switch, you can actually, believe it or not, connect another output from the GT100 called amp control into the foot switch socket of your amplifier, and even start to change patches from your GT100. Sorry, change channels from your GT100. So it really does become like the control center of your rig, and starts to replace maybe all the other pedals that you need. So let's whiz over to some of the effects that are after the effects loop, and I'm looking specifically perhaps for the delay effect here, sorry, the reverb effect. So this is with no reverb. Very dry sounding. If I turn the reverb on, and of course I can choose, let's choose a nice spring reverb or something like that. So, and I can blend that in, change the effects level, but let's go back over, we'll bring a bit of delay in as well now. Ever so easy to do. And finally, we'll just pop a bit of chorus on. No, this is superb. I must admit, this 4-cable technique has previously, as far as I'm aware, only been available on products like the sort of TCG system, which has been, you know, over £1,000 to get a G system. So it's kind of cool to see this type of technology coming into more of the sort of affordable sort of rigs.
It was on a GT10, but you didn't have the interface to be able to move the send and return around, which was the beauty of this.
So I hope you've enjoyed the 4. I keep wanting to say 4-candle, which if you've never seen the 4-candle sketch by the two Ronnies, go and watch that. It's probably a lot funnier than us. So this is the 4-cable effect. And of course what I have also realized as well is that we've got the other benefit now of the volume pedal on the GT100 also works within the loop. So anyway, I've just basically set up a patch. We're using the gain channel off the Black Star. We've got a bit of compression from the GT100 and a few sort of post preamp type effects like echoes and reverbs and stuff. But basically, here we go. Take it away, Mr. Lee, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.